Could you walk us through real quick the different gamma levels here? So I
Yeah.
get the call wall and I get the put wall. Okay, to me that's a no-brainer. If it goes above call wall or it gets to the call wall, that seems like the real brackets. But what which do you think are most important, or are all the lines important? Could you just walk us through that a bit?
Sure. So there's a few different ways that you can look at this, right? And if you don't understand gamma or the basis behind these numbers, I don't think you actually need to know anything about the options market, right? The first thing is these are all support and resistance levels. And what the labels are telling you is where different positions are concentrated. And so what we basically have is we have large areas of puts and large areas of calls, and then there's kind of a happy medium where there's a whole bunch of calls and puts that overline or that both show up at the same strike, right? So you can think of it as a lot of calls show where people are very bullish, a lot of puts show where people are very bearish, and then then there's the middle. So if like a bell curve, that's kind of what we more or less end up with when we talk about where options are positioned. And so as you can see on that chart there, we have this blue line, right, which is the area chart, which kind of cuts at an angle right through the whole graph. And that's essentially telling us how much hedging firepower dealers have, how much hedging firepower market makers have. So the higher the number is, kind of where your cursor is, that's telling us that in that area, market makers have a whole lot of hedging to do. And their hedging activity is the type of activity that suppresses volatility. And so what I mean by that is they're going to be buying dips and selling rips. So if you think about the dip today, we came into the market with a very high positive gamma level, high positive gamma number. And so the first thing you could think about is, okay, that means that there's a lot of mean reverting firepower in the market, right? That means that if a dip happens, the edge has got to be towards mean reversion because market makers have to buy back stock, right? They have to buy back some hedges there. So that's kind of the basis where you start. And that's key to...
Wait. Let me ask you, just so I understand. So you're saying on days where we're close to the top of this blue line here, there's more mean reversion trading that goes on?
Yeah, so anytime you have a positive gamma, so if you see the black line there is the underlying last price of spiders. That's where the price is at spiders when we last ran the report. And so you can see that black line crosses the intersection of that gamma line, which is the angled line there, above zero, right, on the y-axis, meaning that we're in a positive gamma environment, which means that market makers have this mean reverting firepower, right? This means that they'll be, and I don't want to cover sort of gamma too in depth here, but basically when dealers have positive gamma position, they're going to buy the market when it drops and they sell the market when it goes up. And so you can see how that compresses the daily trading range. And that's why we say it suppresses volatility, right? They're preventing breakouts, but they're also preventing drops in the market.
So that's key, everybody. Get your pen and piece of paper and write that down. What you just said is important. See, when you're in that positive gamma area, you can look for that mean reversion. And so this is why this morning, when we were talking at the ARMR trading desk, we were sharing information and we saw that rip down, that crazy Ivan, as I call it. We're not looking for the market to implode. It's just it's a move back to take a look at what's down there before it rips back up towards that mean. But you're saying if we were in negative gamma, we should be more concerned about something that looks like let's say a crazy Ivan turning into a real sell-off that implodes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. So what happens when dealers have a negative gamma position, and this goes for not just dealers, if you sell an option, right, you fundamentally have to hedge that differently. So when we say that there's a negative gamma market, so on your chart, that's where that blue line crosses the zero mark to the left, right? So that's at strikes below where we're currently trading now, right? And that's where this sort of, you can see that on your chart there where zero gamma and both the vol trigger, and I'll explain the difference. But basically where you see zero gamma is the mark where we see the market where dealers are suddenly shifting from a mean reverting type flow to selling with the market. So the way that you hedge in a negative gamma environment, and market makers would hedge in a negative gamma environment, is to trade with the market. If the market starts to sell off, they will start to sell futures. If the market starts to come back, they will start buying futures with that rally. And so inevitably what happens though is that first move, the initial move is the market is going to sell off for us to get below zero gamma line. So that means that the initial move almost always has to be dealers shorting as we cross that in this case, 388 price level, which is the gold, yellow kind of bar in your chart. So when you're coming in the trading day, right, you're thinking if it's a mean reverting day, right, and the higher, what we say is the more positive gamma there is, and this is a metric we tell everybody every day, how much notional gamma is in the market. If we have, let's say, 1.5 billion on your chart there as on the y-axis of positive gamma, we expect a very tight trading range, very, exhibits strong mean reverting behavior, right? And then as the gamma starts to wear down towards zero, we think the mean reversion has a little bit less power. And then if we get to a negative gamma situation, we're not playing mean reverting anymore. We're looking for big swings.